It's about not being able to sleep, this. Woo, yeah, woo. God, I love Americans. Woo.
Who needs sleep?
Hang on. How you gonna A if you aren't that bright? How you gonna B if you're bad tonight? How you gonna C if you can't stand up? How you gonna D if you don't know? How you gonna E if you're everywhere? How you gonna F if your life's not fair? How you gonna G if you've got none? How you gonna H if you have? How you gonna I if you've no insight? How you gonna J if your joy won't light? How you gonna K if you're naked? How you gonna L if you're lacquered? How you gonna M if you're murdered? How you gonna N if you're not? How you gonna O if you, oh my God? How you gonna P if you've lost the plot? How you gonna Q if the Queen won't come? How you gonna R when your legs won't run? How you gonna S when you slide? How you gonna T when you're totaled? How you gonna U when you're underground? How you gonna V when you're very sorry? How you gonna W when you worry? How you gonna X if you're not Chinese? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? How you gonna A if you're always angry? How you gonna B if your legs are bandy? How you gonna C if you got no eyes? How you gonna D if you no? How you gonna E if your drugs don't come? How you gonna F if you fucked up? How you gonna G if you're gone? How you gonna H if there's no one home? How you gonna I if you still can't see? How you gonna J if you jumper? How you gonna K if you koala? How you gonna L if you're lumper? How you gonna M if you're moaning? How you gonna N if you're next in a noose? How you gonna O when you get too old? How you gonna P then? How you gonna Q when you got no line? How you gonna R when you got no rhyme? How you gonna S when you're slow? How you gonna T when you got no milk? How you gonna U if you usually do? How you gonna V if you got no Q? How you gonna W push? How you gonna X if he's still here? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't see? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't see? How you gonna A when it's Armageddon? How you gonna B when the beast comes begging? How you gonna C when the Christ chills down? How you gonna D when you're dead? How you gonna E when it never eases? How you gonna F when it freezes over? How you gonna G when the go comes? How you gonna H when it's hell? How you gonna I in the Ice Age? How you gonna J, you Judas? How you gonna K if you're special? How you gonna L when it's all they bear? How you gonna M in the meltdown? How you gonna N when it's nigh? How you gonna, oh Christ? How you gonna P when you're on the pie? How you gonna Q when it's all too quick? How you gonna R when you're late to rest? How you gonna S to the silence? How you gonna T when you fail the test? How you gonna U ungrateful bastard? How you gonna B if you didn't vote? How you gonna W wannabe? How you gonna existentially? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep?